In September 1942, the FBI arrested the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was publicly teaching about these wheels. The FBI took him into custody, confiscated his drawings of the wheel, and questioned him about the wheel. He let the government know, the FBI know, that these are black angels, Muslims flying the craft that President Roosevelt encountered in February. The craft, the design of the craft, the blueprint of this craft originated in the holy city of Mecca. It was transferred to the Japanese when it was time to construct the craft. This is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the FBI. Any doubts that the FBI had regarding that part of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's revelation, the part about the black Muslims who are flying it, any doubt that the FBI entertained in 1942, they were disabused of in July 1947. The Roswell crash resulted in the U.S. government taking possession of craft, but not Skinny Bob type aliens. This is not what the U.S. government took possession of in 1947. This is what the U.S. government took possession of in 1947. Black Asiatic bodies. Now, what's important here is what the Roswell recovery set off. Everybody knows about Project Blue Book, the Air Force's classified investigation of the UFO phenomenon. But underneath Project Blue Book was an ultra secret Project Collins Elite, a much deeper, much more secret investigation of the UFO and the bodies that were recovered at Roswell. Now, this is closer to what they look like. This is closer to what the U.S. government had in its possession in 1947, confirming what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told them in 1942, that these were black people flying the craft. The government had the bodies of black people in 1947. Now, this triggered an ultra secret investigation. I wrote a report, I published a report on Roswell, and I go into detail confirming the witnesses that say specifically the bodies recovered at Roswell were black. Now, this gentleman is important. This is Air Force Staff Sergeant Charles Brian Bosley. He was part of a crash and casualty retrieval unit for the Air Force, meaning whenever there's a crash, there's a unit that's dispatched to retrieve the casualties, the bodies. Regular Air Force. If there's an Air Force crash or any other crash from the sky, his unit was deployed to retrieve, in particular, the casualties, the bodies. Casualty retrieval unit he was a part of. In 1958, Staff Sergeant Charles Bosley and two of his colleagues were called to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. Those who study Roswell know that it is at Wright-Patterson that the craft and the biological material, the bodies, was sent in 1958. Staff Sergeant Charles Bosley and two of his colleagues were routed to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and given a briefing. They were being prepared for a specific crash retrieval mission. So they were given a briefing on Roswell. They were shown some of the craft material, the famous metallic foil. They were also shown the retrieved bodies during this briefing. Staff Sergeant Charles Bosley later revealed to his son, Walter Bosley, who also was intelligence in the U.S. Air Force intelligence and the FBI. He revealed to his son, according to that briefing, that 1958 briefing, the U.S. government had come to a conclusion based on their investigation, their post-Roswell investigation. Bosley said that the bodies he saw were totally human. He specifically said they looked nothing like the great aliens of Steven Spielberg's movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. They looked nothing like the grays that became popular. And he is the third Roswell witness that specifically said the bodies that they saw look nothing like the great aliens that have become popular. But further, Staff Sergeant Charles Bosley said that during the briefing, they were informed that, revealed that the people behind the craft do not come from outer space. They come from a crypto-terrestrial and sacred terrestrial civilization. What does that mean? Bosley was informed that the people, the culture from which the Roswell people came, was a people that lived in a world inside the earth. Crypto-terrestrial, a hidden civilization that existed inside the earth itself. Bosley was told that this civilization, they are completely human in form, but they have not only advanced technology, they have advanced psychotronic power. Psychotronic, what is called telepathy, ESP, psychokinesis. They had the power of the brain that frightened the Collins elite investigators. And for this reason, the Collins elite defined these human pilots of the craft as demons. Non-human intelligences, but non-human in the theological sense, not the extraterrestrial or biological sense. Biologically, they were completely human. But theologically, they had the power and they were directing their great occult power against the U.S., against the Christian West. So the Collins elite investigation determined that they were demons, black demons that were against the Christian order.
Wow.
This is a black Muslim crypto civilization, which Ronald Reagan was briefed on in July 1982 and accepted as a reality. So when you hear, family, Lou Elizondo and all of the government whistleblowers on Capitol Hill. Notice when the congressman tried to say, tell us about the extraterrestrials or the aliens, Lou Elizondo and the other whistleblowers say, no, we don't use that language. They use the language non-human, by which they mean black demon. But by demon, they mean a biblical angel who has ill intentions for the Christian West. They are using demon in a theological sense, not in a biological sense. Now, I can...
Once again, I want to give a shout out to everybody. I mean, wow, Wesley put in work tonight, y'all. Wesley, if this was a basketball game, you might have dropped 60 tonight, Wesley. You might have dropped 60, man, if this was a...
Praise belongs to Allah. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, got you.
See this image?
Yeah.
Dear family, whenever you tune in to the UAP hearings on Capitol Hill, and you hear the whistleblowers refer to the pilots of these craft as non-human intelligences, this is what you should have in mind. What are you looking at? What does that mean? Now, they don't look like this, but they're depicted like this for a particular reason that undergirds the current whistleblowers and their language, non-human intelligence. Now, understand that language, non-human intelligence, originated with the Collins elite, the ultra-secret government investigation into the UFO phenomena as a result of the Roswell recoveries. The Collins elite came to a particular conclusion that the UFOs are not extraterrestrial, that the UFOs represent a spiritual enemy against America. The Collins elite, these are military crusaders. They are Christian military crusaders. They saw their military mission in a Christian crusader context. And the Collins elite concluded that the spiritual entities behind the UFO phenomena were angels who have ill intentions for the Christian West. And because these angels, and they agree with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who said that these are angels flying the UFO, and these angels have ill intentions for the Christian West. The Collins elite's conclusion exactly parallels the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's revelation. The Collins elite's conclusion was that these spiritual powers in human form, they're angels, but they're malevolent angels. And by definition, that means they are demons. The demonology that the Collins elite project wrapped the UFO secret in is well illustrated by this image right here. What is this image? This image, a 15th century European manuscript, the Book of the Vineyard of our Lord. It depicts the Last Judgment. So when the Collins elite says the UFOs are flown by demons, what they mean by demons is captured symbolically in this image right here. Not literally, but symbolically in this image right here. In this image, you have a Christ up top sitting on a rainbow throne. Of course, Christ is white. Under Christ is Satan. Now, Satan is composed of two colors. He is black and green. And beside him are two demons, a black one and a green one. The reason Satan in post-Crusades demonological iconography, the iconography of Christian demonology, Satan was called the black man. Literally, this is what he was called in medieval Christianity, the black man. And it was the black-faced Muslims with whom the white crusaders engaged in battle that represented Satan for medieval Christian demonology. So the blackness of Satan here alludes to the literal black skin of the enemy. The green of Satan identifies the color of Islam, because it was during the time of the Crusades where green became the universal color for Islam. So this black and green Satan symbolically represents the enemy of the Christian West, the black-faced Muslims with whom the Crusaders were warring. Now,
are you talking about the Moors, Dr. Wesley?
Absolutely, but
Okay.
absolutely. But they called them the Saracens. Now with the Moors, because there's a lot of misunderstanding even in so-called Afrocentric scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the Moors weren't North Africans.
Right.
The black Saracens that are depicted in medieval iconography, Christian iconography, they were indigenous black Arabs, specifically from the Arabian tribe Banu Azd. The Saracens that are depicted black-faced in European iconography are black Arabs, because the true Arab is black. Now, the Banu Azd had a complement. They were joined by North African Moors, but the Saracens in particular are black Arabs from Arabia, joined with North African Moors, and these two are who founded Moor civilization in Europe. But during the Crusades, but what's important here for the demonology of the ufology, see, the Pentagon's ufology, the Pentagon's conclusion of the UFO phenomenon is a Christian demonology. They are black and they are Muslim. This is how the Collins elite understood the demons who are flying the UFOs and threatening America existentially, threatening Christianity existentially. And this is what the whistleblowers hint at when they say non-human intelligence. Black Muslims are the demons that the U.S. government has been poised to fight and preparing to fight since Roswell.